Now, into the ticket office of Disneyland.
Oh boy, let's do this.
Don't think the CIA is going to be trying to hack your second-gen iPod.
I didn't think so. There might have been a lot of illegal music on there. I wouldn't doubt it. But, I mean,
You were supposed to bring death to the flagships, not join them.
that's a pill with two screens and it's open and you gotta swallow it.
iTunes is a constant source of embarrassment.
Behind-the-scenes camera crap.
Here, tell us about courage, Phil. Tell us about courage.
I am Nadella. I can't do it anymore without laughing. I was going to do the whole thing. Welcome, everyone, to the Calling All Platforms podcast. I'm your host, Wes, and I'm here with Landon.
Yo!
And Caleb.
What up?
And we are here to talk all things tech, you guys. So.
Yep.
Anyway, so that was kind of funny on our end. I'm going to go ahead and just say what happened there. Just in case
it's a very
Landon
simple
decides
case.
To, edit
it's a
that
very
in or
simple
out.
case of Discord apparently not liking the phrase, what up?
Is that what it was?
Yes.
Threw me
I
off a
don't
little
know.
bit because I was like, oh, I
Like,
didn't hear
I was
what
wondering
Caleb
why
said.
you guys weren't responding. Is that like it's on the waveform right in front of me? Like my mic picked it up.
What happened was it didn't pick it up.
Yeah,
So-
Discord did not send that over. It filtered it out as noise. So Discord is, filtering the 90s out of our conversations.
That's what
So
it
I think-
is. That was different. Anyway, so this is going to be a good episode as it started already. This is gonna be
Oh,
great.
yeah.
We're going to be talking about Black Friday this week. We'll call this our Black Friday episode, shall we? We're going to go a little different this go around because we haven't, as of recording, there hasn't been any actual deals that have been released. There hasn't been really saying what's on sale, what's this. There have been like early sales, say like Amazon. They've had little things here and there, a couple deals on certain tech companies, but
It's like quite a lot of retailers are doing like, oh, it's a whole month of deals, but
Yeah.
that means that they're releasing their deals like a week at a time. And so we could tell you about last week's deals, which isn't very much used, or we could tell you about the deals that are happening for the next week, which by the time you're listening to this, listener, you may be too late for that, but they're
Right.
not actually releasing the deals for Black Friday itself yet at this point. So instead, we're going to give you advice for what you should be shopping for, what you should be looking for when you go to Google the Black Friday sales for the retailers in your area or the online retailers that you like to shop at. What should you be looking for based on who you're shopping for? So
Yes.
whether that's, somebody in your family or a friend or yourself, like that's what we're going to aim to do with our Black Friday episode this year.
which I think will be good because I think we all have different opinions and points for certain categories that we're going to come up with. And I feel it'll be good for everyone to be like, oh, this would be a great idea for this person or that person or yourself, like he said. So I'm going to go ahead and hand the reins over to Caleb. He's going to start us off and talk about things, and we'll make it happen.
All right. So the way that we're going to be approaching this, listener, is I have got a list of types of people here and things that you ought to keep in mind or that you ought to be looking for when you are shopping for that person. It's worth noting that this list is pretty, like it's stereotypes, right? It's archetypes. And most people are not one type of person.
Right.
to be totally clear. So odds are pretty good that whoever it is you're shopping for, that the tech lover in your life is going to fall into more than one of these buckets. And so, you should be able to cross-reference them to figure out what kinds of things you should be looking for. Now, if just, getting it out there, if you have somebody who falls into more than one of these buckets, and for a TV, for instance, and one says you should be buying this type of TV, and I say you should be buying a different type of TV for a different type of person, just buy the more expensive one for whoever it is. And that's probably what they'd prefer to have. So I'm going to give you the list. Here's the list of archetypes we're going to be talking about today. So, right, we're talking about your elderly relatives. We're talking about kids under 10, college students, your significant other or partner, gamers, TV junkies, music elitists, outdoorsy people, technophobes, artists, programmers, engineers, and a category that I am calling the Normys, which is sort of the catch-all for more normal people.
Yeah.
Just put it that way. People who aren't really that obsessed with their tech. Okay. So I'm going to start right at the top with your elderly relative. From a very high perspective, just buy them whatever Apple is selling, and that'll probably work out fine. Now, it's worth noting. So, like, if you want to get them a smart TV streaming setup or whatever, get them an Apple TV. It's the easiest to use pretty much universally. That being said, you don't have to buy them the newest one. Like, yeah, the latest generation of the Apple TV is down in price a little bit from last year, which is great. But get the cheapest that you can find that is a 4th generation Apple TV or newer. Used HD models should be fine, and they still have software support from Apple, and they're still pretty darn easy to use. So get cheap. Your elderly relative doesn't care about having the upgraded processor to play Apple Arcade games or anything like that. They just, honestly, you're just looking for the interface.
Right.
If you're going to buy them an iPad or any tablet, honestly, buy them an iPad. And get the 9th generation iPad. Don't get the new 10th gen one.
No.
There are a lot of really nice things about the new 10th gen, but it also costs over $100 more than the 9th gen, and it's not worth it for your elderly relative. Just don't get the 9th gen. It's great. They'll love it. They honestly won't care about not having a fingerprint sensor on the power button or fancy colors. Yeah. 9th gen. And then if you're going to get them an iPhone, which honestly, if you're buying them a smartphone, if they've never had a smartphone before, get them an iPhone. If they have had a smartphone before, it's worth noting that buying them the latest version of whatever smartphone they're used to, probably going to be better for them. But it also doesn't have to be the absolute newest version, because once again, your elderly relative probably doesn't care about the latest features. So for iPhones, for instance, you would want to shop for an iPhone SE or a used 12 or 13 Pro Max if they have crappy eyesight. It's like if their eyes are real bad, getting them a used 12 Pro Max is going to give them a bigger screen. You can really blow up the fonts on that thing and make it super easy to see. So that's kind of what you want to shop for there.
Do not buy them a mini, because they will blow up the text and screen, and it will get 2 words on that screen at a time.
You'll have 4 icons on your home screen.
Yep.
So yeah, that's Apple stuff that's going to work great for your elderly relatives. Like, Apple's products, for all of their various flaws, do tend to be very easy to use for basic use cases. And that's going to work best for your elderly folks out there, the elderly person in your life. And that might be you, listener. To be clear, I'm not like discriminating if you are thinking to yourself, oh, actually buying a used 12 Pro Max for the bigger font size actually sounds really nice. That's fine. And now is honestly the time to do it, because with the 14 Pro Max out there, the 12 and 13, they're coming down in price. The people who buy iPhone Pro models tend to upgrade much more frequently than the folks who buy the lower tier ones, which means that the 12 and 13 Pro Maxes on the used market are actually going to be much higher stock right now than they would have been 6 months ago. So good time to shop for those.
Most times they're looking to get rid of those pretty quick too.
Yeah.
Any kind of tech like that. So yeah, it'd be good to do.
Yeah, and Wes, Caleb wasn't going to mention this, but he's speaking to you.
Yeah.
I was trying to be sensitive.
I'm not.
Hmm.
That's really why you got the Pixel 7 Pro. The bigger screen, you can, zoom in on that text
Really,
a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, have you seen these glasses I'm wearing?
Honestly, at some point we need to compare which one of us 3 has the worst eyes. Because, listener, we all wear glasses. And
Not me, I can tell you that right now.
Mine are pretty bad. I don't know about yours, Wes.
When I wake up in the middle of the night, I have to go by sound. So
like a bat. Yeah.
It's pretty bad.
Anyways. Okay, so the last thing, like, your elderly relatives probably don't care that much about tech in their house. If you want to shop for, like, any fancy new smart home tech or anything like that to make their lives easier, what I would recommend is plan on installing the app for that on your own device and managing it for them, because odds are pretty good they are going to screw it up if you leave it in their hands.
Heck, I had to do that with even just a mesh Wi-Fi router system.
Yep.
Because, I mean, the house needed a mesh network, but it needed me to put that in.
Yep. And generally speaking, that's how it's going to be for any tech that you want. So, like, don't buy them tech unless they really need it, and then buy the easiest to use thing that you can get. Right now, in this day and age, the place where that's going to be most annoying is TVs. Yeah. Because your elderly relative doesn't want a smart TV that is going to get in their way, right? So if you're going to buy them a nice, easy to use streaming box like an Apple TV or some of the nicer Roku boxes, in order for them to be able to watch their streaming PBS shows or whatever, then that's fine. Landon thinks this is funny, but I know my parents. So that's fine, but you need to get them a TV that isn't going to get in the way of them getting to that streaming box. So if you can, get them a dumb TV, which is hard to do in this day and age. Basically, every TV you buy new is going to be a smart TV of some form. And if you buy them a Samsung or an LG smart TV that has stupid Samsung software between them and the Apple TV, you are going to get phone calls every night at about 6 p.m. and they'll be complaining about how they can't watch Downton Abbey or whatever. So, shop for used TVs.
Yeah,
that's my recommendation there.
Also, if you can, I'm assuming there are TVs that do this. I'm not entirely sure. But if you can get a TV that is a smart TV that will just turn on to the last input that was used, that would also be a good idea. Like, 'cause a lot of smart TVs nowadays don't do that. They'll just open, like my TV will open up to the smart interface, which if you're buying a smart TV like that, get them a Roku TV because it's easy to use. It's simple,
If you get them a Roku TV, you can honestly, if you get them a Roku TV and they don't need to change inputs or anything like that, you'll probably be fine. Because Roku is pretty easy to use. Maybe not as easy as an Apple TV, but it's pretty decent. So you can probably just stop right there if that's what you're getting.
Yeah.
But
if you can find a TV that will just turn on to the last input that was used, and you can plug in your Apple TV or a stick of some sort to that HDMI port, that would be the best option.
Yep. Now, I will say, if you're shopping for used TVs, look for used plasmas, because that is, in terms of image technology, one that has held up really well for quality. They still look great today. That being said, plasmas did have a tendency to burn in, so make sure that you actually see the thing off and on in person before you pay money for it. So
otherwise you'll have a little logo of Fox News somewhere.
Oh my gosh, you absolutely would. Oh my heck. You just hit that nail right on the head, Wes. Wow. Okay. But yes. And also your elderly relative doesn't care about 4K. You can get them a 1080p TV, that's fine.
Yep.
All right. So that's the elderly relative. They don't need a ton of tech in their life right now. They're just kind of over it. Basic tablet, basic phone, the easiest to use thing you can get for them this Black Friday. All right. I'm going to move on to kids under 10. This is also a pretty short list. Let's be honest. Kids under 10, what do they really need in terms of technology in their life, right? The stuff that you have. Your TV, they use that, whatever it is. So, if you want to buy them their own tablet, pretty common these days, get an Amazon Fire tablet. They work pretty well. They're really cheap, and you won't mind if they get broken. That's an important consideration.
As someone that all my children are under the age of 10, I mean, that is all of us, but we just bought our kids the 10-inch Fire tablets, and we bought like the nice heavy-duty kids case that you can get with it. And they work great. You can control what's on it through your phone, which is really nice. Or you can go on it yourself and do that. They're really, really... Amazon has thought of all the things when it comes to kids like profiles
Yeah.
and whatnot, and making it really easy and safe for them. So it's
Yep.
it's the best option, especially for the price.
Yep. Good parental controls, good, like, cheap ecosystem to be in for them. So that's a good way to go. If you want them to be on an iPhone or an Android phone because you're on an iPhone and Android phone and that's what you want to use to manage the device, you don't want to go through Amazon's app, or you don't want to deal with Amazon's ecosystem, there's valid reasons to not want to get a Fire tablet. Getting them a used iPhone or iPad or Android phone or whatever is the way to go on that, right? Like, don't be buying your kids new iPads. It's a terrible idea. Like, so you might think to yourself, oh, but the iPad mini, it's so cute, it's just the right size. No, it also costs $700. Some idiot's going to headbutt that thing, break it in half, and then you're going to be out $700. Like, don't.
That some idiot is probably your kid.
Yeah, exactly.
And knowing my kids, that's what would happen. Oh, it's a stupid iPad. Chuck it across the room.
So, yes, get them used stuff. If you've got used iPhones yourself, like, yes, trading them in, you get money back for that to put towards your new iPhone, but consider it might actually be a better deal to just hand it off to your kid and let them use that. Set up parental controls, set up a kid's iCloud account for them and stuff like that, and manage it that way. Might be the way to go. So, something to keep in mind. In terms of, so kids also like to play games, love video games from a electronics tech standpoint. The Switch and Switch Lite, honestly, probably still the best place to go if you want to get your kids some gaming opportunities. They don't need the OLED Switch. They just don't. You don't have to spend the extra money for that. If you can get a classic Switch used, or just buy them a Switch Lite, probably good enough for pretty much any kid, unless you are really insistent. Like, the Switch Lite is good enough. If you're really insistent on being able to play the thing as a family, then maybe think about the OLED. Like, if you know, listener, that you're going to be playing it as much as the kids, then okay, maybe think about getting the OLED Switch. But if it's just for the kids, Switch Lite or the standard Switch from a few years back will be good.
Plus, I mean, other people will probably be selling their older Switch,
right? Yes,
for the OLED. So keep an eye out for that.
Worth looking used for that as well. And then the last thing, this is a tech item that I feel like if you've got kids under 10 and you really want to get them into technology, but also you want to foster a little bit more creativity than just having them staring at a screen all the time, Lego Mindstorms is a legitimately pretty cool little ecosystem that gives them the opportunity to play with Legos, sure, but also build robots and stuff like that. So, pretty easy to use approach to how they can do stuff with Mindstorms. Worth noting, pretty darn expensive as well. So,
what age group does this fall under?
Under 10. So,
well, I'm buying it for me.
Okay. I mean, I have seen some incredible things done with Mindstorms. So, like, I'm pretty sure that if you're over 10, it will kind of stretch to reach you. So I guess if you also really want to get your random Lego nerd in your life to to build robots, Landon raises his hand, then Mindstorms, Lego Mindstorms.
Anything Lego is just buy it for me.
That's true. Lego is great.
As well as expensive.
Yes. Also that. All right. So that's kids under 10. Now, the college student in your life. Let's be honest. The college student in your life wants help with their tuition or a gift card for books or something like that. But if you're going to be buying tech for the college student in your life, there's a couple of things to keep in mind. First of all, odds are a Chromebook is good enough.
Yeah.
For most degrees, most learning paths through college right now, all they need is Google Docs and a web browser. And a Chromebook will give them that. If they're a little bit more like, I don't know, in the creative arts or something like that, they're going to want a MacBook. The M1 MacBook Air is where I would recommend you go for now. M1 series chips are fantastic. They're great. The MacBook Air is lightweight, easy to carry, easy to use, and the M1 MacBook Air costs less than the M2 MacBook Air. So that's the one I would say to go for.
Yeah, and don't listen to these people when they tell you they need a MacBook Pro. They don't. They don't.
They don't. Yeah,
They
the M1
don't.
is good enough for the vast majority of college students. Now, if you've got like an engineering graduate student or something like that, and they want to use a MacBook, then yeah, they'll need a MacBook Pro for doing like CAD work and stuff like that. But they probably don't want a MacBook anyways. They probably want a Windows laptop. Anyways, so, that's the laptop I would say for you. If you're not getting a Chromebook for your college student, then an M1 MacBook Air is probably the way to go. But also, for most of them, a Chromebook is good enough.
Yes.
I would probably also would recommend something too is, you talked about like Google Docs or something, or if someone is using, say like subscription service for Office or anything like that, family plan. So if you're yourself is paying a yearly family plan for your storage and things, I'm on the Microsoft side. I use this, but I also share with someone that does go to college right now, and they get their terabyte of storage for everything, but then they also get all of the updated stuff for Office.
Yeah.
And that's just me sharing it to them.
That's actually a great point, because any college student is going to need like cloud storage. That's extremely useful for like, oh yeah, I need to print some crap off at the lab on campus or whatever. Being able to just sign into your cloud storage and print it off from there, because that's where you've been working on it, is super convenient without having to carry flash drives around or anything like that. So if you have a subscription to some kind of cloud storage service, listener, that's actually a pretty good gift for your college student in your life, is just adding them to that. If you are not paying for a family account, start paying for the family account, get them set up with it. And that's a great gift for whatever cloud storage option it is.
Yeah, and also I would ask the said college student what their teachers preferred. Like, cause I remember when I was in college, the ones that were using online, like if I was submitting papers and stuff online, they preferred I use Google Docs. Some might use something else. Some might use a proprietary system that the school uses. You just need to figure out what that is.
Yep.
And then if you aren't using that system, then, I mean, it's not a big deal. They can get the free version of that and still use your storage platform for whatever and transfer it over pretty easily. But if you aren't using one, figure out which one is the preferred method and probably go with that one. Because, I mean, prices are basically the same with Microsoft, Google, and Apple all together. So that's not the issue there. It's just going to be figuring out which one's going to be the best option for the person that needs it.
Yep, that's valid.
So if you have it, I do know that there are student discounts too if they get their own, say like subscription. But if you've already are paying for one, then you can offer it to them. I don't know how with Apple's storage if someone would use it with that or put it in both. I know Apple doesn't have a Office, if you will, on there, but
they do. No, they do. It's not necessarily built into their storage system the way that Microsoft's is or Google's is, but Pages, Numbers, and Keynote are. Oh, yeah.
I guess you're right.
They're your options there. I will say that when it comes to handing stuff into professors online, a lot of them, if they're going to expect either Google Docs submitted directly via the Google Docs interface or a Word document. If you hand in a Pages document, they're not going to take it. I was kind of lucky in my emphasis in college. They did not care because they wanted it in a PDF. If you didn't give it to them in a PDF, you lost points. So everything outputs a PDF. Doesn't matter. But that's another thing to keep in mind when you're shopping for these options.
Yeah, and it's not just Office. I mean, depending on what they're going to school for, because I'm sure there's, Photoshop subscriptions. There's, Adobe subscriptions, things like that. And
for sure.
Just to kind of look at.
I don't recommend giving Adobe money if you can avoid it, listener. Now, the college student in your life may disagree because they're going to be like, but all of my professors are telling me to use Creative Cloud and it's so cheap for students. They're right. That's how they get locked into the ecosystem, is because they learn how to only use Adobe apps. And then when they graduate and the price jumps up to $89 a month, they have to keep paying it if they want to be able to use the software they were trained on. So I'd recommend avoiding Adobe at all, if at all possible. Anyways.
So yeah, subscriptions. Anyway, I figured any kind really is kind of what I was getting to.
Yes. No, it's for sure. And it's worth noting. So I said Chromebooks are good enough for pretty much anyone. Also good enough for pretty much anyone in college is an iPad. You can get them an iPad with a keyboard, Bluetooth keyboard case. That will pretty much meet the needs that a Chromebook would meet, essentially. And it does give you the ability to use a pencil with it as well. And being able to jot down notes by hand. I don't know your college student, they may prefer that. So something to keep in mind. Now, if you're going to buy your college student an iPad with a pencil, don't get them the base iPad. Get them an iPad Air. It uses the Pencil 2. That's what you want. The Pencil 2. Not the Pencil 1 that has a lightning port on the end of it, despite the fact that there are no new iPads sold by Apple that use lightning ports. So don't... I mean lightning jack on the end of the pencil, not port. Sorry. It's the part that goes into the port, the male end. Anyways, so you want the iPad Air with a Pencil 2. It can be a used one. If you get them a year-old iPad Air, absolutely fine. And getting a used Pencil 2, that might actually be a little bit sketchier. The battery might be totally toast on it or something like that. But that's what I would recommend for a college student if you're getting them an iPad. All right. And then the other thing that matters, this is very important for college students in terms of tech, a TV. They need a TV in their dorm room. If you are getting them a laptop, you might be able to get away with not giving them a TV, but they may still want one anyways. So if you're shopping for a TV for a college student, 40 inches or smaller, right? Because it's a dorm room. They don't actually have space. They'll probably will want a smart TV. They're going to want to be able to stream to this thing, but you want something that's simple and doesn't take up a lot of space. Not having to hook up an external box or streaming stick to the TV simplifies things a ton in a dorm room setup. So get them a smart TV. Get them something that's a Roku enabled or Google TV or something like that, because those tend to be much better systems than a Samsung or LG powered system. And in terms of the quality of these TVs and just the price to quality ratio, you're going to want to be looking for deals on Hisense or TCL branded TVs if you're shopping for like the standard dorm room setup, because those are reasonable quality TVs, usually Roku enabled for their smart features, and they're pretty cheap for what you get. So there you go. And that's the college student. Just generally speaking, they need tech for college, but the most of the tech that they actually are going to want or have is going to fall under some other category on this list, not necessarily just because they're a college student.
Yeah.
All right. So the next category, your significant other or partner. So if you would like our advice on what you should buy, that is electronic for your significant other or partner. Well, this is a family-friendly podcast, so we're not going to go into details on that. Unless you guys have something that is not like quote-unquote Patreon exclusive material.
I would say ask them.
That's a good point.
Like literally, just ask.
So that's our tech buying advice, listener. When you're shopping for your significant other, communication is key. That may sound familiar if you're going to like marriage counseling or something like that. All right. Now, we're going to move into, so those are the people who like, that's where they're at in their life and how their relationship to you sits and stuff like that. That's those groups. Now, these are what people are from here on out, right? And what people are, like gamers, they're a breed. All right.
Yeah. Yes.
Now, so you're shopping for the gamer in your life. It's important to keep in mind that if they don't already have a Series X or S Xbox or a PlayStation 5, get them one. They will die. Like if you know, like your grandson is still playing on their PlayStation 4 or whatever, Upgrading them to a PS5 will make you automatically the favorite grandparent for at least the next year. So
yeah,
that's just always going to be a win. That applies every year at Black Friday. If you are shopping for somebody who wants a console and doesn't have that console, look for deals on that console. They'll always be there. Now, a little bit more specific. If you are shopping for a PCMR, PC Master Race Gamer, this year is the year to upgrade their GPU for them. Okay? The GPU insanity of the past few years is finally over. Crypto market has kind of crashed in terms of GPU mining, and the used market is absolutely flooded with crypto mining GPUs, which means that the overall price of even new GPUs is coming down quite a bit. Though Nvidia hasn't gotten that memo, I don't know, we can't control them. So, when shopping for a new GPU for the PC gamer in your life, look on eBay, Newegg, or Amazon for deals on the Radeon RX 5000 and 6000 series, or also look for RDNA 1 or RDNA 2 graphics. That's important. Going to be a lot of really good deals for those. Also look for deals on the NVIDIA RTX 20 and 30 series graphics cards. So currently, the latest from both AMD and NVIDIA are the RX 7000 series from AMD and the RTX 4000 series from NVIDIA. Those are both priced out the wazoo. I wouldn't worry about them for this year. If the gamer in your life doesn't already have a top tier 3000 or 6000 series GPU from NVIDIA or AMD respectively, then that's probably what you should be doing there, is upgrading them to something higher than what they've currently got. So there's going to be plenty of deals on used cards for these, which is good. Special, graphics cards of note that you ought to specifically be looking for are the 5700 XT or the 6600 XT or higher, right? So 6600, the 6700, the 6800, the 6900, the 6950 XT. Look for any of those. As long as the number that you are getting them is higher than what they currently have, you should be golden. And I'm trying to think, is that actually going to apply on all of our AMD's graphics cards? I think that genuinely AMD has been pretty good, and I think NVIDIA too, about numbering these things such that if you are buying them a graphics card with a higher number than what they currently have, they will be getting better performance. I guess the notable exception for that is that if you're buying them a 6000 series RDNA or AMD card, don't buy them the 6500 if they have a 5700 or 5600, because the 6500 is worse than both of those. So there's a few little things like that, but generally speaking, just get them a GPU with a higher number than what they currently have.
Now, side note though, those of you, or dear listener, if you just sat there and listened to a bunch of numbers and just got stressed out, not knowing what this means, I would also like to put this out from experience. When people like to ask me what I would like for Christmas, I would say, I usually shop for computer stuff at this store. Get me a gift card here.
That's fair.
Ask them where they shop. Be like, hey, are you interested in upgrading your computer? Where do you buy your appliance? I would like to give you this much money towards that.
Yep.
There's always options that way. So whether it's like Best Buy, Newegg, things like that can help push that forward.
Also worth noting, Visa gift cards are a thing. You just get them a Visa gift card for whatever amount, and they can just go and spend. And they can buy a used GPU on eBay with that if they want.
Right.
Anywhere that takes a credit card. So
I wanted to kind of put that out there to the people that were sitting there thinking, I'm not into this, but man, that sounds, I don't want to get them the wrong 1,000, whatever.
Yep, that's fair.
So
that's fair.
And from experience, I've had like in-laws that are like, Wes, we know you're techie, but we don't know anything about this. So we're going to just give you money.
That's
Here you
fair.
go. So you can do this as well, is because there's so much. Because I think there's been times that someone would want to get me something and they get me a processor, but I've already bought a processor.
Yeah.
Things like that. So
I think it's worth noting that the listener, if you are going to get the most out of this, it's probably because you are shopping for somebody who doesn't actually know what they need.
True.
But you're going to get off easy that way, right? If you're shopping for like your 13-year-old kid, this is their first PC. They don't actually know anything about graphics cards. They might know what a graphics card is, but all they know is that on YouTube, they've seen Linus Tech Tips video that tell them that the 4090 is the most powerful GPU in the world right now, and that's what they want. That's $1,600. Don't get them that. They don't need it. It's fine. You're going to Google that. You're going to see a Newegg listing that says $1,700 for a Galax whatever, and that's the cheap one. And you're going to be like, holy crap, this is a nightmare. How could I possibly get this? Don't. It's fine. Go onto eBay, search for RX 5600 XT or RX 6600 XT. Find the cheapest one, get that.
Yes.
All right.
So like I said, this, as we're getting more nitty gritty into this is for people that know
and
what we're talking about.
There's kind of a lot of that in the gaming.
Yes,
gaming
it is
space.
true. Like, you see something like, oh, there's a headset. Let's get this person a headset. Well, this person already has a headset, or, so it's good to have, and just like with shopping for your significant other, communication. That's going to be key.
I mean, unless you're trying to surprise them.
True, unless there's a surprise, but
like, is this supposed to be a gift from Santa? You better have some educated guesses then. All right.
That's true.
I'm going to move on to monitors. Okay. Monitors is another thing that for gaming, the needs of a gamer are very different than pretty much anybody else in terms of monitors. For most people, you could honestly kind of just get them whatever and they'll be okay. Stick to name brands like ViewSonic as opposed to, I don't know, Chinese brands, but for the most part, that's where you want to go. However, for gamers, they have a different set of priorities when it comes to monitors. So, refresh rate, meaning how fast the display changes the picture on the screen, matters more to gamers than pixels. So, what you're going to want to look for is 144 or 240 hertz, HZ. Okay? That is the refresh rate of the display. Anything over 60 is good. So if you also maybe just 75 hertz or 90 hertz, still better than 60, still good. But kind of the sweet spot where most companies are targeting their budget-oriented monitors that are still pretty decent is 144 hertz. Okay? 1080p, absolutely fine for video games. I don't like people, 4K gaming and it was whatever. Nobody cares. Okay, just 1080p is fine. If you have somebody who wants to play games that are like single player and just like really pretty and stuff like that, then maybe they want a slightly higher resolution, but 1440p is as high as you need to go for the vast majority of cases. Unless you are the type of person who can just buy the most expensive of everything, then don't worry about 4K. Now, if you are the type of person who can buy the most expensive of everything, then buy them a 4K OLED 240 hertz monitor. If you get those three things, right? 4K OLED 240 hertz, then you will have one of the best gaming monitors on the market. There's like 5 or 6 of them that kind of sit there, and they cost about $3,500. But if you have that to spend on a monitor, cool. Other things to keep an eye for. Nice to haves, these ones, right? Look for DisplayPort 2.1 is good. HDMI 4.0, I believe is the latest version that we're on. And then if you see G-Sync or FreeSync, those are also good things, and that usually indicates a gaming monitor is what you're looking at. G-Sync is if they have an NVIDIA graphics card. FreeSync is if they don't. Okay? Now, there are some FreeSync monitors that will also work with NVIDIA graphics cards the same way they work with AMD or Intel or whatever. But Just know that if you get G-Sync, that's only going to work with NVIDIA. But FreeSync should work with most everybody. It's not quite as good as NVIDIA, as G-Sync, but pretty close.
HDMI. It's actually 2.1.
Oh, 2.1.
So
just
kind of give an idea.
We're only on 2.1?
Yeah, so 2.0, I guess the way you can look at 2.0 is mainly for 4K 60. But if you want to go higher on the hertz, you have to do 2.1.
Okay, I think maybe I'm thinking DisplayPort 2.0.
Yeah, you're thinking, so DisplayPort.
And then HDMI 2.1. Because, because DisplayPort 2.1 just got released and adds like 8K 60 hertz and stuff like that. Nobody cares about that. DisplayPort 2.0. Yeah, okay.
Sorry. Yeah, so 2.1 will also be an expensive port because that's it. I mean, they didn't really start pushing this until the newest consoles came out because those consoles use HDMI 2.1.
Yes.
There was like the only TVs you could get was like top of the line Sony Bravias that had that.
Yeah, right. Any monitors that have HDMI on them are probably going to have 2.1 because because monitors have been up to a higher standard in terms of 4K output for longer than TVs have. So if you find a monitor that has that, like I said, it's a nice to have. And that's going to be if you're shopping in kind of the more expensive 1440p or 4K monitors. That's where you'll see something like that. It's just future-proofing the display. It'll last longer with, as they upgrade their graphics card and stuff like that. So that's all. Like I said, it's a nice to have. Don't worry too much about it. All right, so that's monitors. Now, TVs. TVs are similarly important to console gamers. However, your console gamer out there is going to have a different set of priorities than the PC gamer sitting in front of a computer screen. So, 4K is the standard for TVs at this point. Buy them a 4K TV. That's what they want. With TVs, what's most important is the input latency. Unfortunately, basically no TV manufacturer that I'm aware of actually advertises that detail. You could go Google the, like if you find a deal and Google the model number, look at reviews for that. No, too much work. Just look for TVs from LG, Samsung, TCL, Sony. Those brands tend to be pretty darn good with the input latency, or they will at very least have a game mode on the TV that will reduce the input latency. Should be pretty good. So look for those brands specifically. If you do see a TV that has G-Sync as an advertised feature, that indicates that this is a BFGD, or a big format gaming display, not a big effing gaming display. Those will all have great latency and a bunch of features that are targeted at gamers specifically, like variable refresh rate and high refresh rate, stuff like that. So if you see that and it's a price point that you're willing to pay, those are going to be great for console gamers.
Yep.
All right. Now, back to PC gamers. The mouse, the humble mouse. It's an important part of playing a game on computer anyways.
Yes.
Generally speaking, look for reputable brands if you want to buy them a nice gaming mouse. So the Logitech G series, those are great. The Razer Basilisk, stuff like that. Names that you recognize, essentially. In terms of features, they'll advertise adjustable DPI. And if you're shopping in the bargain basement of mice, just make sure that whatever you buy them, because honestly, if they're not serious gamers, most optical mice will work just fine. Just don't get them anything that's super tiny, and make sure that it has at least the forward and back buttons on the side of the mouse. That's very useful for gaming. Just they'll want that. So that make sure it's at least got that.
Yep.
In terms of keyboards, get them something fully mechanical. It's nice. For gamers, you want something with quite a bit of resistance to press. So get them mechanical switches that are either quote unquote blue or brown. That doesn't mean the keys will be blue or brown. To be clear, the switches underneath them is what you care about. They will be advertised as having blue or brown switches from any one of a number of different manufacturers. Just read the fine print.
Yep.
If you've got somebody who wants to stream, you may be looking at webcams. Get something that is 1080p at least, 4K is better, sure, but they're not actually going to be able to stream the video feed at 4K, so probably not necessary. You're going to want to look for something that has bigger lenses or sensors advertised in it, right? Like, bigger is better. You want something that captures a lot of light for improved image quality. And generally speaking, for gamers, anything with addressable RGB is good. If you see the words addressable RGB, and you're comparing between two different products that are otherwise identical, one of them has addressable RGB and the other one doesn't, get the one with addressable RGB. Gamers love that crap.
Yeah, they do.
All right. Now, if you're shopping for just full-on computer systems for the gamer in your life, right? We already said consoles are good. Consoles are easy to shop for, though. Computers, not so easy. So for full-on computer systems, you want to get them something that is new, right? Latest generation that's going to have some future-proofing and is going to have, it's going to be supported for a long time. You're looking for Ryzen 7000 series or Intel 13th gen series systems, right? So if it's a Ryzen 5 or 7 or 9 and the number after that starts with a 7, you're good. 4-digit number starts with 7 for AMD is good. That's the latest stuff. Intel processors, any Intel Core, whatever, Core i7, i5, i3, i9, that starts with a 13. It'll be a 5-digit number, starts with a 13. That means it's the latest generation Intel systems as well. Okay, so that's what you're looking for there. Anything that advertises an AM5 socket, that's good. Latest stuff from AMD. Anything that has DDR5 RAM or memory in it, also good. That's the latest. Those are the latest systems, okay? So that's kind of what you're looking for there. Make sure that whatever you buy has an SSD or NVMe storage. That's what you're looking for. SSD, solid state, or NVMe storage. If it doesn't say that, or if it says hard disk, flee. Just run.
Yeah.
In terms of graphics, if it has discrete graphics, you're going to be looking for RTX 3060 or higher, or RX 6600 XT or higher. Those are good options right now. If it has integrated graphics and it has an Intel processor in it, don't buy it. It's not for gaming, whatever it is. However it's advertised, if it's an Intel processor, doesn't have a discrete graphics card, it's not for gaming. If you're buying something from AMD that has integrated graphics, not discrete graphics, can be okay if it's cheap. But look again for RDNA 2. That's what you want to look for. If you see integrated graphics and it says RDNA 2, then you're good. That's okay. Won't be a great gaming experience, but it'll be a good gaming experience. And as long as the price is right, like it's a laptop below $500 or whatever, then that's okay. All right. And then in terms of software, obviously, this is one where just buying a gift card, honestly, probably the best option.
Yeah.
if just give them a gift card, let them buy the games they want to buy. That being said, if you want to buy them something specific, right, because it's supposed to be coming from Santa Claus or whatever, look for deals on Game Pass. Like if you can just buy them a certificate for free months of Game Pass or something like that, that's a really good option for anybody on Xbox or Windows. Okay, solid. Or you can look for their favorite games. If you can figure out what their favorite games are, check Steam, check Good Old Games for digital copies, if that's the way you want to go. Or just look for deals on their favorite games in places like Walmart, Target, Best Buy. There's going to be Black Friday deals for all of them, so you're going to have to find out what their favorite game is and then shop those places. It's worth noting, if their favorite game is Apex Legends, Fortnite, anything like that is a free online game, what they're actually asking for is like in-game currency for that game. so that they can like buy battle passes and stuff like that. Not sure that there's a really great way to give a gift card for just those games. Like there probably is for Fortnite. Not sure about stuff like Apex. Again, that's a situation where you're probably just best off just giving them a Visa gift card and letting them spend it however they want.
Yeah, that there. I mean, if they have a certain, say like console, then just say what's the console and then buy the gift card for the console, and then
That's
they can
true.
use that to.
Yep, you can do that.
Do that. So yeah, there's plenty. One thing I would put out there. We're talking about this. I haven't researched it, but the one that comes to mind for if you're looking for like you said, Game Pass and a console together, Xbox does a Xbox All Access where you can get 2 years of Game Pass as well as a console, whether the newest console that you can get from there too. So
yeah,
not a bad idea.
Yeah, something to look
at. Lots of retailers will also have their own deals for bundles for extra accessories that come with it, whether it's an extra controller, headsets, things. And usually those are the best because they'll mark down all the accessories around the console. So,
Yep. So there you go. That's the gamer in your life. Lots of technical things, especially for the PC gamers.
yes.
But like I said, generally speaking, higher numbers are better. Just buy the biggest numbers that you can.
Except milliseconds. You want lowest.
That's true.
But that's a whole other. Anyway.
Okay. So the next person in your life that we're going to talk about is the TV junkie, right? This is somebody who loves TV shows, movies. They're obsessed with the Oscars and trivia, stuff like that. Okay. Now, when you're shopping for TVs, crap gets real confusing real fast. We're talking high level stuff here, listener, but it is worth noting that if you're buying a TV for more than $1,000, you're probably okay, but it's worth going onto YouTube and Googling that TV's model number and just watching a video or two real quick. Just kind of skip to the end, see what their impressions are and stuff like that. And then if they compare it to something else and say that the other thing was good, go back to the Black Friday Google search and look for that instead, like just things to keep in mind.
Yes.
Now, from a general sense, when you're shopping for TVs, OLED, organic light emitting diode TVs, tend to be the upper echelon of high quality TVs right now. The best of the best are OLED with quantum dot technology. Okay? OLED QD. Right? Those are very expensive. They come from Sony or Samsung. I think there was one other company that was selling a single model, but I cannot remember who it was.
What's it, LG?
No. LG doesn't have quantum dot technology. The only reason that Sony gets it is because they're buying panels from Samsung. That is a Samsung exclusive thing right now. So,
okay.
So that's that. Now, if you're buying an LG OLED, LG does a different type of OLED than Samsung does. They do what's called a WRGB pixel. So instead of having just red, green, and blue subpixels making up a single pixel group, they also have a white subpixel in there so that they can get much brighter images, which improves the HDR performance of the TV. That's LG's OLED displays for that reason were better than Samsung's up until just like 6 months ago when Samsung released these OLED quantum dot ones, which is kind of black magic, but it actually means that Samsung is able to only use blue subpixels. And then they use a quantum dot layer to get the other colors. And since blue subpixels are way brighter than the other ones, they get the brightness and the color accuracy. Anyways, LG's OLEDs are still very good.
Yes.
They just don't have the quantum dot layer on them. They're not quite as fancy as the OLED QD displays that are being made by Samsung and a few other companies that are using Samsung's panels. But LG's OLEDs are still very good and a little bit cheaper. Okay, so something to keep in mind. If you can't afford an OLED TV for this person, look at QLED, which is standard LED TVs that use quantum dots. Those come mostly from Samsung. And it has some of the same advantages of the extremely expensive OLED QD panels, but And it has some disadvantages too. Doesn't quite have the same blackness performance as the OLED panels. So that's a little bit less expensive, but still a very nice TV. All right. It has to be 4K. Get him a 4K TV.
Yeah.
If you're looking at anything other than 4K for the TV junkie in your life, that's rude. Don't be that person.
Honestly, if you're looking at anything that's not 4K and you're getting a TV in general, then
I'm kind of impressed. Where are you finding those?
yeah,
I was going to say, like,
you can get
get
a decent TCL 4K TV for $150.
Yep. Honestly, the only place that you should ever get anything that is less than that is if you're buying a used TV for really cheap for your elderly relative, or you're buying a very small TV for really cheap to go in a college student's dorm room. Those are the only two places that you should not be getting a 4K TV. You're going to want to look for TVs that have accurate colors, or at least a color accurate setting inside of it that's advertised as being a part of the TV. The brands that are best for this are going to be your LGs, your Samsungs, your Sonys, people like that. TV's a little bit more expensive, yes, but they're going to have the best color accuracy, and them TV aficionados love that color accuracy. TCL does pretty darn well for being a budget offering in this space. Colors are pretty good. Their HDR performance is pretty good. Not the best, but also TVs are quite a bit cheaper. So getting them a reasonably good TCL, so probably not the $150 one, be looking more in like the $300 to $500 range, but they do pretty good. If you find a TV that has advertised coverage of the P3 color space on the box, that usually means that their color accuracy is pretty good. Nobody advertises that if their color accuracy sucks. And it'll probably, like, a good coverage of that is somewhere in the 97% or higher coverage of the P3 color space is good. That's solid. All right, so that's TVs. Now, what if you want to buy this person a projector, right? Because that's the theater experience, is a projector.
Yep.
It's worth noting that if you're looking at standard TV size spaces, so basically like 60 inches or smaller is how much space they have, just get them a TV.
Yeah.
Like, projecting that size is not great. Projection is for a whole wall, like 85 inches or bigger. Okay. That being said, if you don't have a lot of distance from front to back of the room, right? So the projector has to be pretty close to the wall it's projecting on. Look for laser projectors. Laser projectors, you can actually set them basically on the baseboard and they'll project a perfectly good image onto the wall right next to them. So that's pretty cool. They tend to be kind of expensive, but I mean, that's what you're paying for.
Yeah.
Also, higher lumens is better. The more lumens output by the projector, the better it's going to look in not perfectly black rooms. So you want that, obviously. You're gonna need to buy a screen. They're expensive, good screens. Like, yes, you can get away with projecting onto a white bed sheet, but it's not gonna look as good and probably will make the projector not worth having, honestly. Yeah. And generally speaking, if the projector you're looking at costs less than $1,000, you're better off just getting a TV. Like, because those projectors are not that great. Good projectors cost a lot of money. So yes, you might be able to help get them in their home theater experience really up to snuff, but honestly speaking, there's not that many circumstances where a projector is a better buy than just a good TV. So keep that in mind. All right. In terms of streaming boxes, like, they're going to be streaming some of their shows. Honestly, the super crazy TV junkies are going to prefer to have a Blu-ray player and just play physical media for everything, but they're going to have to stream something. If you buy them a TV that has smart TV functionality, make sure that it's Google TV or Roku built into it. If it's not, plan on getting them a separate box. Get them an Apple TV or a Roku stick or some kind of Google TV box or something like that. This is something to keep in mind because a lot of the best TVs are LG or Samsung. And those ship with their own proprietary smart TV software, and it's crap for both of them. So,
yeah,
just something to be aware of. Now, the last part of the home theater experience is the sound. Obviously, you can go incredibly over the top, get them a 7.2 surround receiver, and then 7 satellite speakers that are outstanding and 2 amazing subwoofers. If you want to go that route, that's fantastic. Don't buy anything that comes as a single set. If you are buying a really nice sound system for the TV aficionado in your life, you buy the receiver separately from the speakers. That's how it's done. If the speakers are included with the receiver, that means they are both kind of trashy. So if money is no object, buy them an expensive receiver, buy them some expensive speakers to go with it. If money is an object, you can get a perfectly serviceable surround sound experience out of a sound bar, but look for 5.1 surround sound bars. What that means is that the front 3 channels, so your center channel and your 2 side channels, will be integrated into the sound bar. Then they'll have 2 satellite speakers that go behind you wirelessly, and then they'll have a subwoofer that goes somewhere in the room. That's probably the best bang for your buck in terms of getting a really good surround sound experience. If they don't necessarily have the space for a full surround experience, that's fine. Just get them a subwoofer, get them a soundbar that has a subwoofer outside of it. A separate subwoofer is pretty important for a good cinema experience. So do not ever make the suggestion that they just use the speakers in the TV. Doesn't matter how those speakers are advertised. It doesn't matter that Sony is telling you, no. We've turned the whole display into the speakers and it sounds really good. They're lying. It's a lie. It's
horrid.
Not real. Get them a separate sound producing device. Even if it's just a soundbar, like a basic soundbar with a separate subwoofer for like $150, it's not super expensive, but it is just so much better than what is in the TV.
I would pretty much say 100% better.
Yep.
They will thank you.
I don't even care how much the TV cost. Literally $8,000 TVs ship with crap tier 15-watt speakers in them. They're so bad. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. Now, last thing I will say for the TV junkie in your life, if you want to buy them something that isn't hardware, because, it happens, a lifetime subscription to Plex might not actually be a terrible way to go. It's like about $100, but it gives them the ability to have a Plex server broadcast onto the internet for themselves. They can just run it off of their computer at home to have their entire media library available to them wherever they are. They don't have to pay for subscription fees. They don't have to worry about somebody taking their favorite movie off of Netflix or Disney Plus or whatever. They can just manage it themselves. And for the TV junkie in your life, they're probably collecting all of that on physical media anyways. Mm-hmm. So they can just rip that onto their computer and away you go. So lifetime subscription to Plex, pretty good. All right. I'm going to move on to the music elitist, which I'm kind of broadening that. I would say just the audiophile in your life, but there's at least a couple of things on here that are just for people who like to make music as well as consume music. So, right. But first, the audiophile wannabe in your life, get them a FiiO digital music player. And if they express confusion about why they would want a separate Android phone to go with their Android phone, just look at them and be like, but your Android phone doesn't have a headphone jack. This one has 4. There you go. You don't have to get the one with 4 headphone jacks. They have cheaper ones as well. But FiiO makes a lot of digital musical players. They're basically the audiophile's iPod. They play FLAC or whatever fully uncompressed audio file that you want to put onto the device, and they're really good for that kind of thing. So that's what you'd want to get them for playing their music off of. Now, for listening to their music, we're going to go in order of descending cost, right? So the fact that this first set of headphones I'm about to recommend to you costs, I want to say, over $2,500. They get cheaper, I promise. So the Meze Empyrean is for ballers, or the Meze 99 Classics, which are only $500, for lesser ballers. Outstanding headphones in terms of balance and clarity and overall sound quality. But you can also get some Sennheiser HD600s used, which are kind of the audiophile standard. It's worth noting you have to get those used now because Sennheiser has been bought out and I think shut down, so you can't buy them new anymore. So, but get them used. Good headphones don't ever go bad. Beyerdynamic DT770 Pros, or honestly anything from Beyerdynamic, they have pretty good reputation in this space. If you have somebody that really wants something that was like made in the USA because they're that kind of audiophile, the Grado SR60E, it's about $75 or $80. So not a bad price, generally pretty well received. If you want something cheaper, I can personally vouch for the Superlux HD 651, which is basically the same set of cans as the Samson SR850, both of which can be had for around $30. And for $30, these headphones are absolutely outstanding. I'm wearing mine now. I use them for the podcasting, for all of the audio editing stuff that I do. They're not perfectly flat in terms of balance, but they are, for $30, outstanding. Honestly, not sure that anything would be better. Oh, Landon is checking his headphones.
Yeah, I was going to say,
about to recommend something.
Mine are the Sony MDR 7506s.
Yes.
They're generally what you're going to see most professional studios using. And they are around between anywhere from $90 to $100 depending on the sale. And they are also really good, really flat sound. You're gonna hear what the artist wants you to hear. Like I said, this is what producers and audio mixers are using in studios for the most part.
Yeah. Yep, those Sonys are they're actually flat almost to a fault. So they add nothing to the sound, and for general listening, most people tend to find them pretty uninteresting. You know, like they don't do anything to make the sound more interesting. They don't have any characteristic, which is what you want if you're mixing.
Right, exactly.
You know, that's what you want as an audio producer. They're perfect for that. And so obviously if the person you're shopping for wants that kind of performance out of their headphones and they're not really planning on using them for just enjoyment purposes, the Sonys are probably the best bang for your buck in this space. Now, if even $30 seems a little expensive, for less than $20, you can get some in-ear monitors. So those are earbuds from KZ. Just any of those are a good option, but they're fantastic for the price, less than $20. The ZSTs are the ones that I have, and they're fantastic. They have a few different options in that sub $20 price. Anything down there, they're great. Highly recommended. Now, if they want speakers, right? They want actual in-the-room speakers. They're all super expensive in the audiophile space. So here's what I would recommend, because it worked for me. Kind of a crapshoot, I know, but it did work. Get thrift store speakers. Go to a thrift store or a yard sale or whatever, buy used speakers. But keep in mind the golden rule of used speaker shopping. The heavier, the better. Good speakers use giant magnets on their drivers, and so they gotta be heavy as crap. So like the small, like even little speakers can be absolutely fantastic. It's just the weight that you care about, right? The heavier, the better. And then look through the grill on the front at the speaker drivers themselves. Look around the edge. If you see what looks like foam falling apart around there, don't get it. That means the speaker is blown out and it's not going to work very well. So it is kind of a crapshoot. Yes, I'm aware, but that's honestly probably, unless, once again, money is no object, that's probably the best way you're going to be able to get good speakers for somebody who wants speakers over headphones. Now, for the non-audiophile necessarily, but for somebody who is really interested into just getting into music as a scene, this is going to seem a little weird, but I'm going to recommend you actually just buy any Mac or an iPad and then point them at GarageBand. A shockingly powerful piece of software that comes free with any Apple device for anybody who wants to get into music mixing, music production, any kind of audio production. Honestly, GarageBand is an excellent place to start. So if they already have a Mac or an iPad, then maybe it's not a great Christmas present, but you should point them at GarageBand anyways, just because you're nice. And then the last thing for the audiophile, this one's a little bit tongue-in-cheek because I think audiophiles are kind of silly, but a CD player. Get them a CD player. Tell them that if they're not listening to their music on CDs, then they're doing it wrong. Tell them that if they have converted their CDs into digital audio files, that they have crushed the audio, that they have made them impure. Tell them that if they really want to listen to the music the way that it was intended, they need a CD player with a 1-bit depth output on it, and give them a used CD player or something like that.
Yeah.
It's slightly passive aggressive, so don't necessarily do that if you don't want to come across as slightly passive aggressive to the audiophile in your life, but there you go. All right. Outdoorsy folks. This one's pretty short because I'm going to be honest, I'm not a super outdoorsy person. So we talked about projectors for the TV fanatic in your life. The projectors make a lot more sense if you do a lot of camping, but you want to watch movies while you are camping. Get something that's battery powered, and honestly, don't spend a ton of money on it because it's going to get kicked around or dropped in a fire or something like that at some point. So, cheaper is better. Integrated smart functionality. Yeah, that's pretty good. You can get small projectors that are battery powered, will run for like 3 or 4 hours on a charge, have built-in speakers, and usually some kind of built-in streaming interface if you want to log into Netflix directly on the thing for about $80. That's good.
Yep.
If money is no object, you can get them an Apple Watch Ultra. It's a great outdoor smartwatch. I don't know.
That's it.
I watched the keynote. That's what I know about it. Generally speaking, the tech that most outdoor folks are going to be using is stuff like action cameras, their phone, that sort of thing. All of these things have batteries. All of them need to be recharged, whatever it is they're doing. So getting them a battery pack, pretty solid option, and is a pretty safe option as well. If you're going to get them just like a small one, like a pocket battery bank or something like that, you're looking for something that has more milliamp hours, or MAH.
Yes,
that's the abbreviation. Those are better. More is better. In terms of quality, at this point, they're kind of commodified, which means that they all tend to be pretty similar quality to each other. So anything with a couple of USB-A outputs, if it's got a USB-C output on it, that's good future proofing. Most of them will have like a built-in flashlight too, if you're buying the larger ones that are 10,000 milliamp hours or more. So those are good options, and you can get a 10,000 milliamp hour battery bank. Some of them have a solar panel on them that'll kind of help supplement the charge and stuff like that, which is nice for outdoor stuff. You can get one of those for, I don't know, depending on where you shop, maybe $25 to $50. So that's a good one to shop for on the smaller end. If they go for, a week out into the backcountry with their van or something like that and camp away from electricity for extended periods of time, you'll want to get them something bigger than that. Worth noting that I'm about to suggest something that you do not want to buy for the backpacker in your life, okay? If they do a lot of backpacking or hiking, don't get them a Jackery. That's a terrible idea. If, however, they do van camping or something like that, then getting them a Jackery or another large battery pack of that nature is good. Jackery is the standard. There are cheaper options out there at places like Home Depot and Lowe's, even if you have those around you. You're looking for watt hours. That's how they advertise the power storage capacity of the larger battery packs. Higher watt hours equals better. And also output wattage does matter, especially if they're going to be powering like a mini fridge off of this thing or something like that, because they have a built-in inverter that outputs power, that changes it from DC to AC to power appliances and stuff like that. So you're going to want an inverter that has more wattage. 2000 watts output on the standard plug tends to be enough for most things. So that's kind of what to keep your eye out for. All right. This next one, the technophobe in your life. When you are shopping for tech, what do you buy the person who doesn't want tech in their life? Get them a used Nook from Barnes & Noble, one of the older ones.
Nook.
If you can get one of the ones with a backlight, that's good, not necessary. Preload it with side-loaded books, or just get them a bunch of micro SD cards that have a bunch of side-loaded books onto them, because that's one of the advantages of the Nook. You don't have to use Amazon's format, and you don't have to, I mean, later Kindles did support EPUBs as well, but the Nook just will load EPUBs and you can just read them. If you don't want to pay money for a whole bunch of books to give them, then you can get like hundreds of thousands of classics on Gutenberg.org for free. Are all in the public domain. So that's a good option. Also, Nokia dumb phones. So like if they need to have a cell phone but they don't want to have a smartphone, Nokia still makes dumb phones. That's a thing. You can buy them.
Yeah.
Just get the cheapest one they have. They're all trash. None of them are good, but you can get them that. And also some chocolate. Everybody likes chocolate.
That too.
All right. Okay. These last few groups here are a little bit more specific. And because of that, their stuff tends to be pretty darn specific to them. We're going to get through these pretty quick. The artist in your life, if they want to do digital art on the go, honestly, getting them an iPad Pro and a pencil is good. You can also get them the iPad Air or one of the newer iPad minis. Just anything that supports the Pencil 2 is good. The older Pros, whatever. Just don't get them an iPad that uses the Pencil 1. Okay? Solid? We've been over this. The Affinity software suite is great. They've got Designer, they've got Photo, they've got Publisher. Those are all fantastic pieces of software from Serif. V2 just launched. So, which is actually kind of sad for me because I have Affinity Designer and I feel like I need to upgrade now.
Yeah.
Because these are not subscription prices. It's a one-time fee. You pay, you own the software, which is a wonderful, wonderful thing to have in your life.
And
let me tell you.
You can often find it at 50% off.
So here's the thing. V2 just launched right now on their website. Landon's going to go check right now. They have a 40% off deal where you can actually get their entire suite of software for over 40% off the individual sale prices of each one. It's $100 for their 3 main pieces of software, as well as the iPad version of, I think it's Affinity Photo. I can't remember, but Landon's looking it up. Right now, the deals on this software is absolutely sublime. They timed it this way deliberately. I believe these deals are planned for all month. So if you have an artist in your life, they need a software suite to get into. I've already said why I don't recommend Adobe. Affinity is a really good option, especially in terms of photo editing or vector drawing and stuff like that. Also, in terms of software, Painter. It is the best digital painting app on the planet. Anybody who's talking about Photoshop, tell them to shove it. Painter is the best. Photoshop answers to Painter. It is, however, a pro app, and it is very expensive, but there's no subscription. It's like $500 for a lifetime license. You own the software. So that's a good option. Again, if money is no concern. If money is a concern, look into getting them a license to Clip Studio Paint, which is a really good art app as well. There's a pro and like a super pro version of it. The pro version is pretty reasonable. It's like $70 for a license. The super pro version has a ton of really cool features, but costs like $250 or something like that. So, but again, no subscription needed. So both good options for the artist in your life. If they're on an iPad, if they're just getting into digital art or whatever, and they want to do that on the go, Procreate is $20. It's really good. Highly recommended for me. Now, if they're not doing digital art on the go, but obviously it's tech, they're still doing digital art. you need to get them a pen tablet for their computer, whatever it is. That's just a thing that has to happen. There's a few options for that. You can get them a Wacom pen tablet. You can get them the Wacom One. That's kind of for your beginners who have never really done digital art before, or honestly, who have never really done art before. That's where you go for that one. It's like $30 for the cheapest one. You can get them the Intuos. That's for folks who are new to digital art, but kind of have art skills already outside of digital. They just kind of want to mess around with the digital art space. Or you can get them the Cintiq, which is a screen. And that one's for serious artists who want to do serious digital art. I would recommend getting those used if you can. I don't tend to like supporting Wacom simply because they charge a lot for their products. And I say that because if you go with another company like, say, Huion, spelled Huion, in case you need to Google them later, you can get their standard tablet, which is called the Inspiroi. That starts at about the same price as the Wacom One, but they're bigger and way more feature rich. Or you can get their screens, their display tablets called the Canvas. Those start at about the same price as the crappy Intuos tablets from Wacom. So if you're buying a brand new tablet, I'd actually recommend going for something like a Huion tablet as opposed to Wacom. Okay, now for the programmer in your life. They don't need a ton in terms of tech, which is actually kind of surprising. They already have a computer that they're using to program on, more than likely. You can upgrade their keyboard. They do a lot of typing. Give them a nice mechanical keyboard that has brown or red switches. Those tend to be more comfortable to type on long term and less noisy than blue switches, so avoid blue. Depending on how hard they push the keys, brown is a little bit harder to push, red is a little bit less hard to push. You can either talk to them to get their preferences for that, or just give them a gift card, let them go buy their own keyboard. You can also get them noise-canceling headphones. Every programmer that I know likes to have noise-canceling headphones on when they're programming. It's a very, very standard thing. You can get them the AirPods Pros or AirPods Pros 2s. Those are great earbuds for that. Sony also makes some really good noise-canceling earbuds. The WX1000XM4s, also known as the WXXM4s, I guess, or the XM4 earbuds from Sony. Really good for that. If they would prefer over-ear headphones, the AirPods Max do exist for $500. I do not recommend those things. Get the Sony the WH1000 XM4s or XM5s. The XM5s are a little bit more expensive. The XM4s are still excellent. Last generation, sure, but they're fantastic anyways. Those are really good. Or you can get Bose Quiet Comfort over ears or earbuds. Those also tend to have really good reputation in the space. Okay. Then the engineer in your life. Honestly, the engineer in your life already has enough tech in their life. They don't need any more. If you're going to get them something discretionary that they don't already have, get them a 3D printer. Engineers love that crap. The Creality Ender 3 series is pretty good bang for your buck, or if you want like the really high quality, super consistent stuff, Prusa. They're expensive, but for a reason. If they would prefer a resin printer, get them something from like Anycubic, the Anycubic Photon, or Elegoo resin printers. All have pretty good reputations in the industry. Or you get them a CNC laser cutter or router. Engineers also love those things.
I also love those things.
Well, yes. That's kind of your job, though, isn't it? Like
that's the machinist in me speaking.
All right. The last category that I've got, and boy howdy, it's a good thing because I've been talking for a while. The Normys, right? These are the people who don't necessarily care a ton about the tech functionality in their life. They're not super interested in it, but they're not like scared of it the way a technophobe is. They want it. They want the conveniences and the features of digital life. They just don't care a ton about how they get it. So, if you're shopping for a TV for the normie in your life, anything 4K is good. You can save a buck pretty much anywhere. Smart is good. Most TVs are smart these days, though. They probably won't really care that much about what kind of smart features it is. If you get them an LG, don't worry about getting them another stick. They can just use LG's stuff, but save a buck, get a TCL. Has Roku, it's a good option. Hisense, also a good option. Pretty inexpensive. Save yourself some money. They don't care. Just a 4K TV in whatever size seems appropriate for the space they have to put it in. There you go.
All right.
In terms of headphones, these folks will honestly go for anything that's kind of flashy. Like, that's good. So, Apple earbuds have a status symbol associated with them. So if you get them some AirPods, they'd like that. But you don't have to get them the AirPods Pros. You can just get them the normal AirPods and they'll be fine. Beats over-ears headphones, those things they're a status symbol. You can totally do that. Just anything that kind of looks good. It kind of doesn't matter how it sounds. Just anything that looks nice. Get them an iPhone. This is a thing. Generally speaking, most of them would rather have an iPhone over an Android phone. A used X, XR, or 11 is a good option that doesn't look as out of date as it could. If you get them an iPhone SE, it's going to have the home button on it. That's going to look kind of ridiculous. If you get them a used X, then it's pretty old. Prices come down quite a bit. You might be able to get one for about the same price as a brand new SE, but it will look nicer and fancier, and that's good. Also, gift cards. Get them a gift card. Let them spend the money how they want to spend it.
Yep.
Or if you really want to hit them, like just, oh yeah, this is where the tech world gets good, get them a Twitter Blue subscription.
Don't do that.
Oh.
I thought we were going to get through an episode without talking about Twitter.
Oh no, it's November 2022. We have to talk about Twitter in every episode.
Listener, don't do that.
Listener, if you're wondering, Twitter Blue is a wonderful thing right now. I mean, I guess it's kind of been shut down, actually. I don't think you can pay for a Twitter Blue subscription right now. So
not at the moment.
Okay, that's fair. You can't do that. But it did allow, for a time, people to pay $8 to easily impersonate giant corporations and then tweet stuff out that legitimately lost them stock valuation. Like, in some cases, literally billions of dollars in company valuation just vanished because of a fake tweet. Good job, Elon.
Wow.
Really impressing those advertisers. Anyways, don't buy Twitter Blue subscriptions, but all the rest of those, good options. So yeah, there you go. That is basically everything that I can think of for how you should shop for the people in your life this Black Friday. Now you can take all of this new knowledge you have about tech for these people, and you can go do some Googling and find out where you're going to be able to get the best deals on the types of things that we just talked about. Good hunting. Best of luck to you. I personally kind of hate Black Friday shopping. It's a giant pain in the butt. Out of everything on this list, the only thing I am shopping for this season is a new graphics card. That's it.
Curious of what you're going to find. What's your budget?
Budget is $250-ish, kind of in that range. Okay. I would prefer 200, but I'm feeling it's going to be between 200 and 250. Gotcha. And I'm hoping for a AMD RX 5700 XT or a 6600 XT, kind of in that space.
Gotcha. Yeah, that'd be a nice upgrade for you.
It would. It would be a great up. Oh my gosh. Huge, huge upgrade.
Yeah, it would. Maybe you'll start playing games again.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I mean, all of my kids are getting an upgrade too, because the oldest gets my old graphics card, and then the youngest gets down all his the way graphics card. We'll be at the low end. We'll be dropping a GTX 750 Ti out. That's the one that's going out the bottom end. And then the oldest we'll have in active use will be an RX 470. So pretty old, but it's a significant step up from a 750 Ti.
Yes, it is. Man, that's awesome.
Yep. But yeah, so that's hopefully you got something useful in there, listener. Like I said, go back, find the groups that you talked about. I'm going to go ahead and guess that Landon has helpfully put the timestamps for each of those groups into the description.
Yep.
Go back, find those groups, listen through. Hopefully that gives you some ideas about what you should be shopping for those folks this Christmas. And hopefully I tried to include stuff that would kind of cover every budget. So even if you're only shopping like $15 for your outdoorsy friend, just get them a battery bank. It's useful, you know?
Yeah.
So hopefully that was helpful for you, listener.
Not too bad. No, I think it was pretty good on there. So, Landon, do you have anything you wanted to add?
I just really want this affinity package now.
Right? Right? $100 for that. I am,
Listener, you can't see what is going on here. And it's unfortunate because, well, it's probably a good thing because you would have paid attention to what Caleb was saying. But after he went past that affinity deal that he mentioned, I was just sitting here just scrolling through all the new features and the new things that, like all the things that are available with this package. And I'm just like, oh my goodness.
yeah.
I need all this.
I mean, even if I just updated Designer, like there's a lot of new features, but I want some of the new stuff in Publisher too.
I mean, the only software I own from them is Designer, and I love it. And it's the new features that are on there on this new one are freaking awesome. But then I'm like, I could use Affinity Photo. I know Photoshop. I used to use it on a regular basis. Yeah. I could use that. Publisher, I probably wouldn't use as much, but if I had it, I would use it.
I would use it all the time. Currently, my desktop layout and publishing app of choice is fetching Apple Pages, like, which is, to be clear, of all of the word processors in the world, absolutely the best at page layout. Hands down. Nobody does it better. But it's not a dedicated publishing app, and it does lack some features that something like Affinity Publisher would have. And I never bought Affinity Publisher simply because I was like, I mean, Designer's what I need. Publisher is what I want. But now I'm all like, oh, there's an updated version of Designer. I need that. And for not that much more money, I can just go ahead and get the whole suite. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's tempting.
It really is. Super tempting. Honestly, listener, look, we haven't had a good rant from me for this episode, so here we go.
There it is.
Adobe. Between Affinity and DaVinci, I don't think there's any real reason for the vast majority of people to use Adobe. Go grab Affinity Photo for all you Photoshop users. You Illustrator folks, Designer is there. It does basically everything you need it to do. Publisher replaces InDesign. Yeah, I know InDesign isn't necessarily a super widely used app, but I've never used Publisher, but I can't imagine it's worse. Frankly, as a former professional InDesign user, fetching heck, I hate that app. So, it's a great suite. It includes mobile apps that don't suck as well, which is nice. Like, you have to pay for those separately, but with this bundle, you don't. It's all part of the same bundle. So yeah, that covers kind of the core of Adobe's audience pretty nicely. Affinity's got that covered by design, right? Like they're trying to cover the broadest possible audience that they can steal from Adobe, and they've done that pretty effectively.
And as somebody that, as a job, used to use Adobe Illustrator on a regular basis, Affinity Designer is just as good.
Yeah.
There are some things that, there were some things I had to get used to. The layout's a little different. I had to change a few settings to get certain things to look the way I wanted it to. But other than that, it does everything that you're going to need it to do.
Yep.
And it is fantastic. And it's not a subscription. You don't have to be online to use the freaking app for that matter.
And once you buy it, you own it. That's the thing. They just released a new version. If I decided not to pay for V2 of the Affinity apps, guess what I still have? Version 1.
Yep.
I still have Affinity Designer on my computer. I could do whatever the crap I want with it. It still works absolutely fine. So, that's really nice. And then there's DaVinci for all of the crap, what's it? The film app. I just forgot Adobe's. Dang it! What's their movie editing?
Premiere Pro.
Premiere Pro. That's it. Premiere. DaVinci is free. DaVinci Resolve costs nothing. And, well, okay, unless you make a blockbuster film and release it, in which case, yeah, you do have to pay them a licensing fee for that. But if you're just using it at your home to do home stuff, no, it's free. DaVinci Resolve is free, and it is every bit as good, if not in many ways significantly better than Premiere Pro. So, fetching crap. Don't just hate Adobe. I hate them. I hate the monopoly that they have created on the creative space, and it is just super frustrating to me, especially when there are other really compelling, super solid options out there that don't require you to pay a stupid subscription fee and that don't put you in a position of, like, Pantone can just go ahead and break up with Adobe, and suddenly all of your old projects that were designed for physical printing don't have color anymore in your Adobe apps. Yep. And best part, Affinity Designer, when I bought it, was at one of those 50% off sales. I paid $20 for that piece of software. That's equivalent to 1 month of the student version of Creative Cloud. Or just Photoshop. If you're just paying for Photoshop, that's $20 a month.
Nah, it's 10.
Is it 10? Oh.
You can get Photoshop and Lightroom for $10 a month.
Okay, there's a different bundle I'm thinking of then. It was, anyways.
All the other software individually is $20 a month.
Oh, I might have just looked at Illustrator and then assumed that Photoshop was the same. That could be what happened.
No, they get everyone in by using Photoshop and Lightroom for $20 a month, or for $10 a month.
Just don't do it. Get Affinity Photo. It does basically everything you need it to do. So anyways, yeah, there's my rant for the week. We've had to get one in there at the very end.
Got it. It wouldn't feel the same without.
Yeah, right. I have to get mad at somebody, and I haven't got mad at anybody today. It's a dope.
Well, yeah.
That's who I hate today.
Well, I think that's the end of the episode of our Black Friday episode. Listener, we appreciate you listening to that rant, and hopefully give you some good ideas for this Black Friday. And if you're buying for yourself or someone special, hopefully this gives you good ideas for it. So, all right. If you want to see any videos that are coming up, Caleb, video, YouTube channel.
Whatever, I'll get to it.
You can check out our YouTube channel, Calling All Platforms, on there. You can also get on our website if you want to get a hold of us, callingallplatforms.com, and the social media platforms. We are on there as well. All right, dear listener, have a good week.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Calling All Platforms is a production of Supporter Sound Studios. To learn more about how you can support the podcast, go to www.patreon.com/callingallplatforms.